Hello everybody. My name's Emma. I'm so delighted to be here with you tonight. Delighted. It has been a few months in the making that me and the lovely Lou, who is on this call, have been preparing for this moment. So excited. I need to breathe. I just came off an Instagram live with this really amazing lady called Dr. Olivia, I keep saying that, Oliver. And we were talking about the importance of breathing in perimenopause and menopause. It was fascinating. And just how important it is. And that is, first of all, I'm just going to welcome you and also acknowledge that I am holding this meeting on the beautiful lands of the Boonwurrung people of the East Kulin Nations and paying my respects to the elders past, present and emerging, and to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. And it is beautiful. What a beautiful autumnal day we've had here in Victoria. And I'd love to see where the rest of you guys are from. And I will start this session tonight with just doing some grounding, doing some breathing together. I want to make sure my sound works well. So I have not got my headphones in, but I can hear that I have a noisy neighbor next door. So if he starts making lots of noise, I might have to put my headphones in and there might be a little bit of disjointedness. So I'll just warn you of that in advance. But hopefully we won't need them. Goodness me, lots of people arriving. Yay! That's awesome. I'm so pleased you're here. Thank you. I don't underestimate how precious all of your time is. So let's start by having our feet on the floor, if that's available to you. If not, it is totally fine. Wherever you are sat or lying to be, the important part of grounding is that we just recognize that our body is in contact with the external world, because often we can get so tied up in our heads and in our thoughts, and we forget that we're a human being and we're part of nature. And the reason I talk about this at the beginning of this masterclass and in every one of my programs, every time we meet, is because it's such an important part of changing your relationship with alcohol, is learning to understand and to tune in to how you are feeling in the moment, and particularly in your body. So we're going to start off with taking 3 nice deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And another one in through the nose and out through the mouth. And one more in through the nose and out through the mouth. And I'm just going to ask you to notice your feet. I'm going to ask you to notice whether they're warm or cold. Notice the surface that they're on or in. And then I'm going to invite you to wriggle your toes. And imagine that you have a root growing down the bottom of your foot, deep into the earth, this beautiful earth, securing you but not restricting you, allowing your feet to relax, to open, to stop being constricted. And just reminding you that you're part of nature, part of humankind, that you have more in common with everybody who is here than you have separating us. And then I'm going to take a second for us just to notice how we're feeling today. And if anyone wants to put how they're feeling in the chat, I'd welcome that. Hi, Nicole. How you doing? Good to see you. if anyone wants to put how they're feeling tonight, how they're feeling in their body, where they're feeling it, I welcome that. I welcome that. Because interoceptive awareness, which is feeling how we're feeling and feeling our bodies, can be very hard. Calm. Oh, I'm so glad, Pauline. That's lovely. That's how I would like you to be feeling. How wonderful. But every feeling is welcome, right? And this is really important when the reason I'm doing this is not for no reason, because it's very important when we're trying to change our relationship with alcohol. Slightly jittery, says Colleen. Hi, Colleen. Good to see you again. Slightly jittery. I get it. I get it. I feel a bit jittery this evening, actually. Funny you should say that. I can feel it sort of in my chest, a little bit, the top of my chest and my fingertips. Yeah, brilliant. Good job. Good job. Excited, says Jane. Oh, great. Well, I'm excited as well. Ridiculously excited. Overwhelmed. Oh, Melinda, that's so tough, isn't it? Oh, I just invite you to take a nice deep breath and let your shoulders drop down. Tension in the jaw. Yeah, I hear that, Jenny. I really do. Tension in the jaw is a very interesting one, isn't it? So now we're starting to land together. We're starting to build community together, all really important things. We're starting to see if we can escape from this busy world for an hour, this hour that you've put aside, which I take with so much care. And I want to deliver you so much value in this hour. So thank you for sharing. Those of you who are able to share, appreciate it. And acknowledge that it is a really difficult thing for a lot of us, me included, to be able to feel our feelings. So this is me. My name's Emma. Now, I have lots and lots of qualifications that mean that it's okay for me to come up here and talk to you about this. It means that I'm qualified to do so. They include being a qualified and licensed counsellor and psychotherapist. I'm also a This Naked Mind senior certified coach, a grey area drinking master coach. And I also work with parents who are wanting to connect better with their teens, which is very handy for me because I have teens and they need connecting with. In addition to that, I'm also training. I'm in the year-long Gabor Mate professional training, which is amazing. And so I don't know if any of you know Gabor Mate, but his work is very influential in the work that I do. But most importantly, and the reason that I feel more than anything that I'm qualified to come up here and talk to you about changing my relationship with alcohol and potentially changing your relationship with alcohol is because I had a relationship with alcohol that wasn't working for me. And I've changed my relationship with alcohol to one where I can take it or leave it, and I choose to leave it. That's not the purpose of what I'm here to talk to you about today. I'm not here to say you shouldn't drink, 100% not. I'm here to talk to you wherever you are in your relationship with alcohol. If you want to moderate, if you want to be sober curious, if you want to take a break, if you want to take a longer break, I'm here for all of those things. And the reason that I'm here is because I'm massively passionate about this process, because I was where I imagine some of you are now. You can see little me with my glass of champagne. I've just run a half marathon, I think, there. And I'm eating some chips and some oysters. And to all intents and purposes to the world, I look like I have it all. I work for a big international company. I I was working 5 days a week. I was running very regularly. I had a nice house in a nice suburb. I had lots of friends. And to all intents and purposes, I looked like someone who was living their best life. But underneath, I was really brittle. And I was really brittle for lots and lots of reasons. Alcohol was one area of my life that wasn't working for me. There was so many other areas of my life that weren't working for me. But what alcohol enabled me to do was to ignore, push away, suppress the discomfort that I was having in how I was feeling about myself. I was so freaking stressed out. I was so busy. I was exhausted. And alcohol didn't really strike me. In fact, it never struck me as being a problem until I was probably my early 40s. I started to think, oh, it's a bit, I'm enjoying this a bit much, and it started to make me feel bad about myself, but nothing really made me want to stop, because I'd got to a point where everyone I knew, all they did was drink. It was very much part of my industry. I would never have considered myself to be a problem drinker. And which is why it's nice now to have definitions like rare drinking and things like that, and knowing that it's on a continuum. But what was happening to me is I was feeling so awful about myself. I started to feel out of alignment with who I wanted to be and who I thought I was. And it got really confusing. And I think it's part of this midlife thing. And I also know, now that, there's all sorts of chemicals in our body that change in midlife as well. But I do dry July, I do sober October, I do whatever the other ones are of them, dry January, and I would hate every second of them. And I kind of went through this process for about 2 years of going, right, okay, I'm gonna do these ones, and started off as like kind of interesting. What was, I think, happening is my intuition was saying to me, this is something you need to look at. And then things got really tough for me at work, and I had been living on adrenaline, coffee, and booze, basically. And I was working all the hours that God sent. Another, a place for me to hide and to numb out is in my work. I get very passionate about my work. I can have a tendency to overwork in the same way that I can have a tendency to get obsessive about other things as well. But I experienced a bullying situation at work, and I wasn't resilient. I couldn't bounce back from it. I was so brittle, I broke. And then I had to build myself up from scratch, because I didn't know who the hell I was. I was like, who am I if I'm not a marketing manager for this big international company? And so I was really broken. There was a load of other stuff that went along with it. But I left my job, literally had a breakdown. I like to call it my spiritual awakening now. But it was a really scary time for me in terms of my identity. And I was doing yoga, doing meditation. I'd started to decide I was going to do a change of career. I was going to move into counseling and psychotherapy. I started training in that. But nothing was feeling quite right. And my attempts to reduce my drinking were getting strong. And I remember saying to a friend, I think I'm going to have to go to AA. This is just not working for me. I'm feeling so bad, and I cannot go beyond. I wanted to go to 8 weeks. I could never go beyond 8 weeks. And if I did 4 weeks, I would be crawling the walls. And when I had finished those 4 weeks, if I was trying to do a little bit longer, I remember drinking the most disgusting wine because it was in the house. And I decided I was over this because I felt like I was being deprived and I was having this awful time. And it just made me feel crap about myself. And the harder I tried, the less I seemed to be able to do it. And my kids came in. My kids were one of the reasons. There was a few different things that happened, but one of my kids was 11 at the time. And I went into their bedroom to put them to bed after a party in our house because we were party animals. And they said to me, "Mum, can you not bring wine in when you put us to bed? Because it makes us feel anxious." And I was like, it did sink in a bit, but probably not until the morning. And there was a few other things that happened as well, but I think that was the main one. It was like, you're making me feel anxious. And I was thinking, well, who are the most important people in my world? Who do I want to keep safe? Who do I want to be their place of safety? And it's my kids, of course. So anyway, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the process that I went through to change my relationship with alcohol, in the hopes that, because I'm so passionate about this, I think there's such a difference in the way that I do this than a lot of the other work that's out there for lots of different reasons. And I'm really excited to share it with you. But now, this is me now. I don't run as much as I used to, so I'm a little bit bigger in my body, which is hilarious because a lot of people stop drinking to lose weight. But I'm actually learning to be at peace with me. I think we all think, oh, we're going to take a break from alcohol and it's about the behavior. It's never about the behavior, never about booze, never about booze. It's always about what we're using alcohol to do. I sleep so freaking well. I cannot believe how well I sleep. And I'm able to be calm. Most of the time, I'm not going to lie, I'm not always calm. In fact, this morning I was a little bit uncalm. But I'm able to be responding rather than reacting. I think that's one of the biggest things for me of being alcohol-free or taking a break is, and I remember, and I'll talk about this in a second, but I'm able to be that for my kids. And I don't know how many of you know my story, but my kids got diagnosed with autism and ADHD last year. And it was a pretty intense time for us because one of my little ones had a bit of a breakdown themselves. And what I've had to learn to do over that period of time is really kind of become a point of co-regulation. So being able to be regulated so that I can regulate my teen. And so, instead of kind of trying to stop things, trying to change things, it's like, how do I be with them in their experience? How do I lie next to them? And I credit having stopped drinking for my ability to be able to do just that most of the time. All right, so that's enough about me, but I just wanted you to understand where I came from. And I just wondered as well, for me, when you last took, and for me, the last time I took a break from drinking before I took a year off, which is what I did using the method that I work with people with now. But I'd be really interested to know what you remember most about your last break from booze. And for me, it was like restriction, not being able to do something. I don't know. Please, I'd love to hear in the chat what your experience was. While I have a quick sip of my water. Just make sure I can see everybody. You enjoyed it, but you couldn't sustain it, Pauline. Totally get that. Yeah, okay, so you enjoyed it. So that's great. I love that. Anybody else? I was more organized and I had lots of clarity. Yes, Nick, it's huge, isn't it? You were happier. says, no, oh, I hear you. I hear you. And there's lots of reasons why that might be too. Colleen says the fear of not being able to sleep, which was at first, it was hard to fall asleep. Yeah, really interesting, isn't it? Sleep is so important. And we use alcohol. So many of us use alcohol to help our anxious minds go to sleep at night. Nala says she loves waking up on the weekend and feeling fresh. Yes, absolutely. Anyone else? Yeah, there's something so nice about that, isn't there? Jenny says, I found quitting easy until I didn't. Exactly. It's amazing what comes and trips us up, isn't it? I was much calmer, much more productive when I was not drinking. Yes. And Melinda says, happy in the morning that I didn't drink the night before, but it was harder as the day went on. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's so interesting, isn't it? I'll talk about that a bit more as we go on as well. Giselle says, I like being clearer, but was happy to reward myself with alcohol at the end of my sobriety. Yes, exactly. And that's such a lovely thing that you said there, that you wanted to reward yourself with alcohol. So we'll talk about that a little bit more as well. Thank you, Giselle. I really appreciate you sharing that, and everybody else as well. So I'm going to move on just to make sure we get through all of this amazing content. Colleen did the same. You rewarded yourself. I know, it's so interesting, isn't it? And that's how we think of it. And we'll come on to why. So what I'm going to show you tonight, and any of you who's been to any of my presentations before, is I always show a picture of my friend's dog, Ruby. And this is how we need to think of ourselves when we are going into changing our relationship with alcohol to whatever we want that to be. Yeah, there's no wrong or right way to do this. There's no, oh, if I stop drinking, that's better than that. No, there's no better. There's just change, right? So what I want to show you is that there's a different way. We think as a society that in order to change, we have to go into battle. We have to struggle. We have to be mean to ourselves. We have to gird our loins and push on through. It's cultural. It's been going on for years. It's what we think. And it's what we've taken on from the people around us, right? It's the phraseology of our lives. But this way that I'm going to teach you, and this is why I say be open to your precious mind and treat your mind like a puppy, somebody who is training, who is precious, who is learning. Look at Ruby's little face. So I'm going to show you where there's no struggle, there's no war, there's no battle. What we're going to do is learn, we're going to listen, and then we become. And what we become is so bloody exciting. So I just want to be really clear here before we go on. And I know I feel the need to do this because I appreciate this when I'm on webinars, which I often am, watching from the other side. So I am going to tell you about my program as at the end of this and a little bit during. My program's called The Great Aussie Alcohol Experiment, and it's starting on Monday. I am, however, going to deliver you so much value and so much information and so many tools during this presentation that I hope you will forgive me for sharing a bit of information about my program and how I work with people. So if everybody could just let me know in the chat if that is okay, I would appreciate it. Otherwise, I feel a little bit uncomfortable. I just want to make sure everyone knows that's okay. It's that kind of like quid pro quo. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Bron. Thanks, Nick. Nick's in already. Nick's there. She's like, I'm in. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Maureen. Thanks, Melinda. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, everybody. I will try not to focus on that too much, but it's important for me, and because I'm passionate about this. And what I hope by showing you some of this stuff is some of you will go away because you'll be like, yeah, got it. Others of you will be like, actually, I haven't got it yet. So maybe I need a little bit more. And that's what I want to show you the way to that as well. Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Margot. Much appreciated. So here we are. We're going to go through my way of working with people to get rid of the wanting, because it's the wanting that's the problem. Alcohol is a wanting thing, like wanting more. We want more than we'd like to have. Yeah, so it's about wanting. And the way we change our relationship with alcohol is about changing the desire, the wanting. So it's not so compulsive. It's about being intentional. It's okay to do, and that's why I'm saying this is not just aimed at people who are wanting to quit or wanting to take a break from alcohol. This is aimed at everybody, because this method is helpful wherever you want to be in a relationship with alcohol. And my program 100% works with people wherever you want to be on your relationship with alcohol. So in the Great Aussie Alcohol Experiment, at the end of the alcohol experiment, once you've done your 30-day break, we do things like do a plan for how you want to go back to drinking, if you want to go back to drinking, what your non-negotiables are going to be, and that sort of thing. So it's definitely not a no drinking program. This is about awareness primarily. So the first thing we're going to go through, these are the 5 important pieces in my mind. There's a few other ones, but these are kind of like the main pieces for me. And also some of these are really, really tough for us, only because they're things we're not used to doing, and we're not used to understanding that we are not going into war with alcohol or ourselves. So first thing is, we're not going into battle. We are literally in a massive love-in. Preparation is actually really important. It can really make a difference to how you go into a break from alcohol. That can be effortless and feel really good. The third part is that everything that we believe about alcohol, and most of the things that we believe about ourselves, are lies. And I will repeat this many, many times, because when we think of alcohol as a reward, for example, there is almost, and I found this the most extraordinary thing, and I was talking to a lady who was in my group in the last round of Aussie Alcohol Experiment. She was saying, I cannot believe how much my beliefs around this have changed. I cannot believe that all of those things that I used to think it was a reward, it relaxes me, it made me fun, it made me outgoing, it helped me connect, it did almost every single one of those things is the opposite is actually true. But at the moment, we don't believe that, right? So it's really interesting. And then the most important thing is you get what you expect. What if it was amazing? And then the last bit is, and we talked about this before, it's never about the booze. It's never about the booze. The booze is an adaptation, a coping mechanism, a way to do something, to escape from something, to move towards something. And particularly for women, we have a lot going on. There's a lot of need to soothe. Okay, so here we go. Let's go with the first one. Oh no, before we do that, you are in the right place. And so again, if you recognize these, let me know in the chat. If everything would improve if you could get this one thing under control. That is how I felt. That is how I was like, oh my God, if I could just fix this, it'll all be okay. I was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and this was the worst thing for me. I was being really mean to myself. I was being so harsh with myself. I was like, honestly, the things I was saying was awful. You feel like wine is the only way that you can relax, and you don't really want to model that for your kids. Yeah, Julia's saying yes. And I'm so glad that you feel like that, because that was exactly how I felt. And it doesn't feel nice. It doesn't feel comfortable. It feels like, you need something to change. So let's do yes if you are ready to take back control of alcohol. Can you do me yes in the chat, please, friends? She says, taking a quick sip of water. Yes, thanks, Pauline. Yes, yes. Thank you, everyone. Yes. I love Julia's. Yes, again. Perfect. Thank you. Lovely. Well done. Thank you, Jane. So this is what I really want to know from you guys, and I hope you are willing to share this with me. I think it's easier and more fun the more open and vulnerable we can be. And this is what a lot of this program's about. And a lot of the work that I do is let's get real, because we're so similar. And the reason that I did the piece of work that we did at the beginning, the grounding work, is just to remind ourselves that we're part of nature. We think all these things that we've got going on are ours and ours alone. They are not. They are not. So please tell me, if you would be so kind, in the chat, what your relationship with alcohol is right now and how it makes you feel. Terrible, says Maureen. Yeah. Social, but escapism, hopeless. Oh, Melinda. It owns me after the second glass. Oh my God, that said everybody, right? It's toxic and it makes me feel sad. Absolutely. That's what I say to people when they ask me why I don't drink anymore. I'm like, because it was making me feel bad about myself. So shameful. That shame is the worst. Oh, I've just given up again and it's very hard. Oh, Giselle, we will make it easier, I promise. Nar says, mine's more of a weekend binge drinking. Absolutely. That was me as well. I could quite happily go Monday to Thursday, but boy, would I drink at the weekend. It's a crutch. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I love it too much. Okay, well, we can change that. You can change that 100%. Julie says, yes, owns after the second glass. Yes, and there's very good reasons why that is. And Narcissus, the hangovers kill me. Cindy says, it's the cause of many fight with my partner. Yes, 100%, 100%. Me too. It's my little helper to relax and finish the day. Yeah, yes, it's always at that. It's a particular time of day, isn't there? When it comes about. And Jenny says, day 3 sober. I've been binging on 1.5 bottles a night for weeks. Well done, Jen. Well done on your 3 days sober. That is so freaking amazing. In fact, I'm going to get my pom-poms out for you. And look at you in exactly the right place. Yay! Well done. Nice one. Julia says, I want to like and agree with all those comments. Oh, me too. Well, we know that you do that. So that's beautiful. No worries, Jen. No, I'm so pleased for you. 3 days is awesome. 3 days is brilliant. Okay, so here we are. First of all, we're going to talk about mindset. Then we're going to talk about preparation. We're going to talk about limiting beliefs, why we think we like to drink. We're going to talk about language, why the words we use matter. And number 5, and most importantly, we're going to talk about having your own back and how your needs have to matter. So first of all, mindset, why self-compassion works and why we're going into a battle. We're not going into battle. It's a love thing. So the first thing is, I mean, this is so entrenched in our culture, is we do something that we didn't want to do. And what do? We are horrible to ourselves. We're angry, we're frustrated, we judge ourselves and we make ourselves bad. And what's the first thing that happens when we do that to ourselves? We feel bad, and so we drink. It's an awful cycle. It's an awful cycle. And it's easy to say, stop being mean to yourself and start treating yourself like someone you love. But we also have to have compassion. And this is one thing I talk about. We talk a lot about in my groups, which we talk about parts work, because that part of us that is being mean to us, it has a reason for being there. It has served us well. It has protected us for a long time. It kept giving us a kick up the arse, and that worked until it doesn't. And now it's just making us feel sad. Now it's not helping us. So we have to have compassion for ourselves, but we also have to have compassion for the part of us that's being mean to ourselves. And almost, say, like, I get that you're here. I understand where you're coming from, and you've really helped me so far. But what do you need to know about me now? What do you need to know about me in order for you to take on a different role? And that's so interesting when we do that work together. So the solution is gentle, loving kindness. And it really is. It's so counterintuitive, but it is so, so true. Nothing good happens from being mean to ourselves. Nothing good. We don't change. It's not long lasting. It'll be the type of change that is a bit like, what I never wanted to be, which was, for me, the AA method. And I'm not knocking the AA method, because some people it really works for, particularly the community part of it. But for me, it was that kind of like, you have to start again at the beginning. The devil's doing push-ups at your door. There was all kinds of parts to it that just seemed a bit mean. And for me, and most of the research that I follow now, say that the route to change is with kindness, awareness, and kindness. I'm just checking. Somebody put their hand up for a second. Does anyone need anything? If you do you want to just pop it in the chat for me if you've got a question? I am happy to answer as we go through, or we can answer. I've got question and answers at the end. Whatever you want to do. So that's the first part. So the first part is self-compassion. The second part is preparation. How to set yourself up for success. Now, Jen, who's already 3 days sober, has got a leap start on us here. But preparation is really important. It's really important. And Lou will share in the group in a second the awareness worksheets that I have. If any of you have done them, I don't know. If not, they are available, and I'll talk about them a little bit more. But preparation is so important. And to step away from this judgment, thanks, Lou, this judgment that we have for ourselves, this meanness, and just to start to get curious. So the problem is, and we reflected this in our conversation already, that we feel ashamed for struggling with booze. Yeah, because there's all this silly stigma that's being created by, it serves a lot of people that we as a group, as a society, think that we've kind of othered people who struggle with booze, or who booze becomes problematic for, when actually, the word alcoholic doesn't even exist in the medical profession anymore. It's alcohol use disorder. It's on a continuum. I have clients who I work with who barely drink at all. The only time they drink, it might be because something has happened out of the blue, and they have a they have like an unconscious reaction, and so it'll be about something else. So it's not necessarily, people generally want to investigate their relationship with alcohol because it's not working for them, not because they have lost their family in their house. That generally isn't the type of people that come and work with me. It's because it's making them be mean to themselves. It's because it's making them sad. It's because it's making them not be the parent that they want to be, and so on. It's not. So we have this shame around it because society others, and we've made all these kind of words about being an alcoholic and stuff like that, which is it's just no longer used. And what we need to do instead of that is become mindful. So we need to get curious. And we can only get curious if we don't have the judgment side of things. So if we get curious and we're like, oh, that's really interesting. I am drinking 3 glasses of wine when I have had the conversation with this person within half an hour. That's interesting. Instead of really investigating what's going on for you there, what is your unmet need and what is happening from you from a physiological perspective, if we start being mean to ourselves, then the only thing that's going to happen from that is that we're going to drink. So we get curious because all change happens on the other side of awareness. So those are the awareness worksheets, and basically what the awareness worksheets do, and it's a really, really good way to prepare to take a break. So if you're going in to do the alcohol experiment with me, which starts on Monday, if you're going to do that, I highly recommend that you download the awareness worksheets and work through them prior. And do that if you haven't already stopped drinking. Do that while you're drinking, it's totally fine. And just really try and get into this process of getting away from this judgment of this being mean to ourselves, because it's only a part of you, a misguided younger part of you, who thinks that being mean to you is helpful. It's not helpful. So let's leave the meanness away. We've got enough shoulds in our brain anyway, without making stopping drinking another should, or taking a break from alcohol. So we go through the thoughts about booze. We go through routines and rituals around booze, and then we go around the after effects of booze. So I highly recommend downloading those. So limiting beliefs. And again, actually, Lou, just in case anyone has to jump off early, do you mind putting the links to the Great Aussie Alcohol Experiment in the chat as well? So I think we've got a payment plan, which is over 4 monthly payments. And then we've got a full price, which is slightly cheaper upfront payment as well. I just want to make sure, in case anyone has to run off and we go over, that we've got those in there as well. So now let's talk about the crux. And this is the stuff that in my program is really different, is limiting beliefs. Now, the reason it's really different in the Great Aussie Alcohol Experiment is because we work on this on a daily basis in a small group coaching environment. Now, you don't have to be there every day to do it. You don't have to be there at all. You can watch the replays, you can come to some. But what we do is we offer the opportunity, and every evening I will always do half an hour. You never have to stay for any length of time. You can have your camera on, camera off, doesn't matter. You don't have to speak. You can just watch, you can just listen, but you have the opportunity to literally work through every single limiting belief that you have around alcohol and turn it around, so that when you leave the alcohol experiment, you have transformed your beliefs. So then when you're drinking, you are drinking from a place of consciousness, from intentionalness, which is how we want to be living our lives, right? We want to be living our lives intentionally, using our, not being driven by forces that we're not even sure what they are. So, limiting beliefs. Why we think we like to drink, and why everything we believe about booze and many of the things that we believe about ourselves are big fat lies. So the problem we have, and this is where I say alcohol is a wanting problem, because as long as we believe that alcohol is the solution to our problems, we will keep wanting alcohol. And it's only a very, very small percentage of people who are physically addicted to alcohol. Most people are not. It's mainly a psychological addiction. If you are physically addicted to alcohol, make sure that any program that you do in conjunction with your GP. It can be dangerous if you are physically addicted to alcohol. So it's important to say that as well. But let's talk about this. So we believe that alcohol is the solution. Alcohol is a way of escaping things. And we've talked about all the different reasons why we drink. And this is really when you start sharing the reasons why you drink, which is what we do at the beginning of the Great Aussie Alcohol Experiment. When you start listing out all of those reasons, that is your list of beliefs. And I promise you, I have never come across a belief about alcohol that is not a lie, and that the opposite is not true if you like to drink. And again, not coming from a don't drink thing, right? We take risks with everything we do in our lives, but let's know what the risks are and let's act intentionally. Let's be cognizant of what we're doing and why we're doing it. So we start with identifying what our limiting beliefs are, the things that are keeping us drinking. And again, if you guys have got any of those that you want to share in the chat, I welcome that, because I believe the most amazing thing again about group work is that understanding that everybody has the same beliefs, right? We all think alcohol is a reward. We all think alcohol relaxes us. We all think that alcohol makes us fun. And one of the most important ones is connection. We all think that it connects us to people, and often it is connecting us because it's lubricating. Often, often when people stop drinking or take a break from drinking, it can be quite scary. And this is a lot of reason why people keep drinking sometimes, is because actually the idea of not drinking is quite terrifying, because what happens is we have to step into our power and have difficult conversations, because often the reasons that we're drinking is to escape the fact that we're not really communicating with our partners anymore, or the fact that our relationships aren't how we want them to be with our friends. And, there's all sorts of things that go on underneath. So I say it's never about booze. But identifying our limiting beliefs, gaining knowledge. Now, this isn't just gaining facts. So in the alcohol experiment, what we do is we have daily videos and we have daily content in a Facebook group. You don't have to be in the Facebook group to be part of the group, but it is there as well. And we focus on a particular subject. So it might be socializing alcohol free, or it might be dealing with big emotions, or whatever it might be. But it's not just those pieces of information that we gather. It's also the information about ourselves. So it's also, what are our triggers? Like, I had an interesting conversation today with a clinical worker who's been working with my youngest child, and I must trigger, my automatic reaction is I'm having to defend things that I'm doing. And so it triggers me a little bit, not massively, because I'm genuinely quite comfortable with what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. But so what do? I go to the kitchen, I eat 3 Tim Tams, compulsive, right? It's nothing to do with anything other than the fact that I was feeling dysregulated. Same. Right. So it's noticing those things. And once we notice them, then we change them. And then we create new thoughts, because beliefs are really, the difference between beliefs and thoughts is, beliefs for us are like the lenses through which we see the world. And that can be really, really, and it was also the ways that we've created our personality, and we get into this in the program. We get into, the protective parts of us, why we do the things that we do. But it's about creating new thoughts and beliefs that move us towards our goals. And it's not just about affirmations. It's not about saying stuff. And that's why the programs that I work on, it's not about putting alcohol in a corner and ignoring it for 30 days. We get into it. We go deep. So we go deep, we get close, we are in our jammers. There is snot, there is crying, there is laughing, and we get real and we get through this stuff. And it is a really awesome program. I love doing it so much. So we identify and we shift our booze stories. Yeah. And we also work a lot on the things that we believe about ourselves around there, because there's so many of those that are tied into this as well. So the next part is language, and this is huge. And I'm very, very careful and very considered in the language that I use around my relationship with alcohol. Because it means, like, we were saying, oh, I'm feeling afraid, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm feeling, I think it's going to be awful. I mean, that was me. I was like, I'm going to have a shit time. Like, I knew some things were good. Like, I knew that I remember one of my times before I stopped in January 2020, I remember the feeling so good to be able to go and pick up my kid on Saturday afternoon, because normally I would never have been able to do that. And I remember the freedom of that. But generally, and I remember the freedom of thought, those were the two things: freedom of thought and that sort of like sense of wholesomeness and pride. But generally there was this, I'm being deprived, this is a bit shit, my life's never going to be fun again. Tell me if you relate. Because we have all this stuff, right, about what being cool is, what being a rebel is, and no one's going to tell me what to do. And it's like so funny because alcohol's the thing that's telling us what to do, right? And the only person we're rebelling against is ourselves. But we're like, no, I need my freedom. We're like Mel Gibson with the blue stuff on his face. Let me have a look in the chat. Okay, so language. So this is the beautiful book, if any of you have not read it. Talk to Me Like I'm Someone You Love. So beautiful. But why words matter. So the problem is feeling deprived every time we take a break from booze. So the solution is understanding the impact of our language. Totally relate to that. Yes. Get deliberate, create an experience of abundance. So this for me is everything about the program, about the way I work, about how I want my life to be, because this is more than alcohol. It always is more than alcohol. And we go through a really big transformational process in this month. It's like, this is about creating an experience of abundance. I, for one, am turning 50 this year. And I do not want to live my life constricted anymore. So when we come in, you know, the brain has this cognitive bias. Yeah. Thank you, Na. The brain has this cognitive bias. So if we think something's going to be shit, it will be. So the more we say things like, and I hear people, oh, it's so hard. It's going to be so difficult. It's going to be so awful. What if it wasn't? What if it's not? You know, and actually opening ourselves up rather than constricting. We can't, it's not that we can't have stuff, it's that we don't want to. It's not that, you know, and when I say to people, get yourself loads of beautiful glasses, beautiful drinks, bring drinks. It's not that you're not drinking. Of course you're drinking, you die if you didn't drink. Get some amazing drinks, surround yourself with them. You know, obviously, and generally I find people in my programs generally don't get triggered to drink more booze if they have an alcohol-free alternative, but some people do. So if you do, I don't recommend that, but most people find it quite helpful. But I mean, there's so many. For me, I'm 3.5 years alcohol-free, and I love all different teas. I love having fancy tea. I buy myself something nice as a treat. I love beautiful tonics, cordials, kombucha, all kinds of weird syrups and stuff. Anyway, tea is my main. Actually, English breakfast tea is my main. But it's like, how are we going into this? Are we going into this in a, oh, it's all going to be so awful? Or are we going to be like, Jesus, this just might change my life. I might come out of this expansive. You know, I'm not giving up anything. I am choosing to take a break. I am, you know, it's not going to be hard. It's not going to be painful. I don't even talk about the wine witch. For me, that craving is a message to us, and a message that we need to listen to. And we don't listen to messages from ourselves because we suppress them with alcohol. And it's actually listening to our precious inner soul that is crying out to be everything it ever wanted to be. And we've unfortunately started using these different adaptations, which we think are keeping us safe from harm. And the only harm is listening to our feelings and listening to our experience, and actually, you know, being the adult and possibly having the difficult conversations. But, you know, in those difficult conversations that we have with our friends, with our relationships, with our partners, such growth and forward moving happens. And, you know, this is why I say to you, this is not about a month of drinking. This is about the beginning of something so much more, the beginning of a relationship with yourself. Anyway, sorry, I digress because I get very excited. So we change the language, we get what we expect. So then having your own back, your needs have to matter. It's never about the booze. So the problem is that we are constantly giving. And as women, we are often people pleasers. There's so many reasons why that. Having done the Gabor Mate course that I have, I'm more and more aware of how sensitive many of us who drink are, how impacted we are by the world around us, how much we try and please, how much we feel other people's emotions, how much we take their experiences into our bodies, how we end up feeling resentful and angry. We're so overwhelmed because we've got all these things that we've got to do. We've got all these shoulds going on our head. We think the only way that we can sit down and relax is to have a glass of wine, because it's the only way we can actually focus on what we're doing and get away from all those voices in our heads. We're drinking to cope with our feelings. We're drinking to cope with the fact that, the life isn't how we wanted it to be. We don't feel like we're fulfilling our potential. We don't feel like we've got vitality. There's so many reasons why we drink, and none of them are bad. None of them have got there's nothing wrong with any of us for having those reasons. Yeah. The lie is that we can actually be all of the things that's expected of us. We can't. It's impossible. It's impossible. So we've been completely set up to fail. And that failure is sad for us, and it makes us feel unhappy, and it makes us drink. So we have to have our own back. We have to matter. So we have to deliberately create space for ourselves, space to do the work. We have to come in and say, right, if I'm going to take a break from alcohol, I'm going to go 110% on this. And I'm going to see what freaking opens up for me. I'm going to see what changes in my life. I'm going to create some space for myself every day to do 5 minutes of journaling on the prompts that I get from Emma or whoever else you might do a course with. I'm going to try and attend the group sessions maybe 2 or 3 times a week so I can build the community, build the connection. I'm going to show up as the adult in my life, and I'm not going to do that in a way that feels like, oh my God, boring, responsible. I'm going to do that as that feels like I'm finally taking back the power. Because this is about personal power. Alcohol keeps us small. It keeps us small, especially those of us who are sensitive people, who are great believers in justice, those of us that end up having massive fights with our partners when we're drunk, because suddenly we can say the things, Not drinking alcohol means we have to deal with shit. And that can be hard, because of course we'll catastrophize, or everything's going to go to shit when we do that. It's not. It's really not. Whatever happens, we'll be moving forward. And whatever happens, we'll have our own back. And it's like being brave enough to not abandon ourselves in our discomfort, to actually stay next to ourselves and be there. So acknowledging our feelings is a key to a healthy relationship with booze. And we just have to start choosing us. This is hard for us. I'm not going to lie about it. Women find it hard to put themselves first, but we have to put ourselves first, because we have to show our children that this is what you do. Because otherwise we end up in this intergenerational shit show of people pleasing, resentment, and ugh. Anyway,
myself having
so
the
this
drink
is Lou,
I never ever
talking about her experience on the
and I think that is awesome as well. Like I see with my partner at the moment, I'm not sure if he's watching, but he's trying to do dry July at the minute.
Yeah.
And every night I can see he's just itching to have a drink.
Yeah.
Whereas I get that because he's white knuckling it and it's his habit. But because I've done all the work and reprogrammed my brain, I don't even think about alcohol. It never crosses. The only time I think about it is when I look at other people drinking, or look at my partner drinking and think, oh, you poor thing.
So this is Lou, who's on this call now. Lou is about to be 2 years alcohol free. And she's literally saying, I never even think about it. It doesn't even cross my mind. And Lou's been through so much recently. She's had loads of stuff going on. We all do in midlife. It's a busy fucking time. We've got parents, we've got children, we've got all sorts of stuff going on. And everyone's like, oh, when you get out of the baby years, it gets so much easier. I don't think that's not been my experience. And I don't think that's a lot of people's experience as well. But, you know, Lou talks about prior to joining the alcohol experiment, she had high anxiety, very low self-esteem, and she was feeling trapped in a less than ordinary life. And now, despite heaps of stuff going on, she only ever feels anxious when it's actually warranted. She's lost weight, she feels better, she's got a much better relationship with her partner and her kids, and she feels incitement and enthusiasm for the future. So I'll just share with you, if that's okay, a couple more of our participants, very short clips, just so that you can get a vibe of what they felt like in the program. There's only 2 more, I think. There might even be, yeah, there's 2 more. And then I'll open it up to questions. I hope that's okay. So it's 8 o'clock now, if anyone needs to jump off. Otherwise, we'll keep going. Won't be much longer.
I've said this with the group before, you know, when you stop drinking, you know, if you're always sort of fighting a hangover or you're always feeling really tired, you just, my favorite foods when I'm hungover is McDonald's and burger rings and pizza shapes. So I would regularly just, you know, eat a pack of pizza shapes, either when I was drunk or hungover at, you know, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. Yeah. And then be up at 6 and just be, you know, you're just in a real never-ending cycle. And I think because I'd done it before, I was like, gosh, it's, you know, you did all those days, you could just do it. But I could never just get more than, you know, 3 or 4 days under my belt. Before then I'd be like wanting to reward myself with a drink because I'd had 3 days off. So that's where I was, and I had my birthday.
Oh, so Amelia, we've been working together. She's sort of I think she's nearly a year alcohol free now. And she's cool because she goes to like loads of music festivals and ecstatic dancing and doing all this amazing stuff that she never thought in a million years that she would do alcohol free. And she's absolutely loving her life.
30 days to start with is a really, really great goal. And you'll honestly be amazed how different you feel after 30 days. And then, you know, do 100 days because it's a journey, and, you know, we fall off and we get back on, and we fall off and we get back on. And every time we get back on, we learn something more and new about ourselves, and just really immerse yourself in it. There's so much now online and support, and, you know, join Emma's group, have a session with Emma. Definitely, you know, the community and the support and the women that you get to meet that are doing this, it's so important, and you're not alone.
That's it. You're not alone. Beautiful. And now I tell you, MC Money, yes, I'm so excited. I'm so excited, Jen. What was I going to say to you guys as well? Dance parties. If you're in Victoria, I am hosting an Untox ecstatic dance night on Friday. I do them once a month. See, Jen, beautiful to have you here. Really, really appreciate it. And I'm so looking forward to seeing you with a group. Oh, you were in Brisbane. Well, they do them in Brisbane as well. My friend Faye, who runs Untoxicated, the whole business, they do dance parties in Brisbane as well. And they're completely, no one drinks. They just go and dance and drink cacao. It's super cool. And I'm going tonight on Friday. I'm so excited. Anyway, I digress, but I will share the information with you afterwards. So I just want to, before we get into the Q&A, I want you to imagine having done a successful 30-day break from booze. I'd like to know what that would feel like, how you would like to feel. And I'll explain why in a second. So how would you feel after a successful 30-day break from booze? As I have a quick sip of my drink. So this feeling is relieved and proud. This is it. It's this feeling part that's so important. I've done it before and it feels incredible. It feels like real achievement. It does. And it's the feeling part. That's what motivates us. Nick wants more control in her life, empowered. This empowerment part, pride, so important. Giselle, thanks everyone. I need to go. Curious about 30 days sober. Yay! Good. I'm glad. I hope you joined, Giselle. Jane says liberated. And I says, yes, empowered. And Maureen says much happier and proud of myself. Just in time for my daughter's wedding. Wonderful. And what a beautiful way to celebrate her. It just huge, massively, massively huge. So I want you to hold on to those ways that you want to feel. This is one of the most important things, having positive emotion, moving towards something good. We are not doing something dreadful. We are moving towards something wonderful. And that's how we talk about it. And that's really important in this process. So if you're looking for freedom of thought, if you want the space to respond rather than react, if you want to learn to like who you are and step into your personal power, this is my program. If you sign up today, I will have a one-to-one 30-minute session with you, and we will literally go through your limiting beliefs so that for the rest of the program, we can work specifically on those with you. It's a really good value. It's worth $150 just in and of itself. So I encourage you to sign up today. It's $450 up front, or I do a payment plan, which is 4 monthly payments of $140. But the results and the impact of taking a 30-day break, and more importantly, changing the wanting, is, invaluable. So what's included? You get the daily knowledge videos. So that's kind of like psychoeducation. So there's a little bit of information, about 10 minutes each. You get daily journaling prompts. You can either journal yourself, or you can go into the Facebook group and share your journaling. The journal prompts are in the Facebook group as well. We have a private Facebook community. You do not have to be part of the private Facebook community in order to be part of the group, because you'll be meeting people on a daily basis, should you want to. You don't have to, as I said, in the Zoom calls. We've got the daily live, we've got the daily group coaching, and we've got limiting belief transformation. So that's what's included. It is an amazing group. The women that I bring together are phenomenal. I am so lucky that I have never had a bad group, and everybody that I work with are beautiful, open, seeking, kind, non-judgmental people. We also have these amazing bonuses. So my friend Emma Walkinshaw, who I have a podcast episode with, she does this program called 21 Minutes of Morning Magic. And that is like 7 minutes of yoga, 7 minutes of meditation, and 7 minutes of journaling, which is really nice accompaniment to this program. So you get that, a month of that free as part of this, if you sign up with me for the Great Aussie Alcohol Experiment. I give you a recommended reading list with podcast list as well. You get 3 bonus meditations from me, a grounding, a centering, and a orienting meditation. And then I also give you guys my favorite non-alcoholic drinks guide and a discount to purchase at my friend Vanny's no or low alcohol store. So you get a discount on that. So those are the bonuses. Luke, would you be kind enough to put the links again into the chat? And I really welcome any questions now that anybody might have about the program or about changing a relationship with alcohol. Anything at all, I'm here for you, and I'm happy to stay on until the last person is here. And also, while we're here waiting for questions, I just want to share with you my contact details as well. So if you need to reach out to me at all, my website is Hope Rising Coaching. My email is emma@hoperisingcoaching.com. My Instagram is @hoperisingcoaching, and I have a beautiful podcast which I would so recommend, and I hope you guys listen to. Very, very helpful in this process, called Midlife AF. Now, friends, thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Julia. I'm so glad that you enjoyed it. I really am. I appreciate you. Thank you, my friend, for being there as well. Do we have to join and pay the $450 tonight? You don't have to join and pay the $450 tonight. The only difference being, if you do join tonight, you get the one-to-one session with me for free. So that's the only thing. If you want to, you can join. I think I am actually taking people joining up until Sunday's the official end day, but I'm actually taking people until Monday, because often people wake up on Monday morning and go, I wish I'd done that. Thanks, Nick. See you in the group. Thanks, Noah. So glad we're building a good relationship with Noah here. Melinda, so you can do whichever feels good to you and suits your finances. And I'm not sure if Lou's still there. Lou, are you still there? She might have jumped off. She might have kiddie stuff to do. No problem, Margot. Yay, Lou, could you just repost the links again for anyone wanting to join up now and get that one-to-one session with me? Thank you, gorgeous. Thank you for staying on as well. Lou's the best. Lou also works with us. Oh, no problem at all. Feeling more confident in my journey. I am so pleased. I am so pleased, Louise. Anything I can do to help. You know, just, you don't have to be part of any paid courses with me. I've got a free Facebook group called Midlife AF that you're more than welcome to join. And I come and speak in there once a week and answer any questions that anyone has around alcohol as well. Thanks, Lou, so much. Yes, and as I said, anyone signing up tonight will get a free one-to-one session with me before we start, so that we can get those limiting beliefs really focused in on and shift them completely. Now says, thank you. That was really good. I hope you enjoy the event on Friday. I will. Thank you. Now I will. Thanks, Jane. Go well too. Thank you so much. It's been lovely. Please excuse me. Has anyone got any questions? Here I am, ready for your questions, she says with a, but please ask away. Anything that you need at all. Anything I didn't cover. I wish I could put you in my pocket. You will have me in my pocket, your pocket, Polly pocket. That's what happens when I speak too much. Starts becoming nonsensical. Thanks, Melinda. So nice to see you. So glad you're here. Just beautiful spending time with you all. Thank you so much for giving up your time. I know how precious our time is as women. I feel bad for the men. I'm like, no, your time is not precious. I'm only kidding. I will send a replay of this out as well. So if you've missed it or you want to watch it again, it will be coming out to you shortly. I will wait a few more minutes as well. Just make sure that nobody needs to ask any questions before we go. That was fun. I'm so glad you guys engaged so much with me in it. It's always a bit, sometimes you just get crickets and it's a bit isn't it, like it can be a bit hard. And trying to open the payment plan. Oh, somebody else had that the other night. I think it is to do with are you on your phone? We have a cricket in our house. Yes. Somebody had that the other night, and they found that when they opened it on a laptop or an iPad, it was fine. I'm not sure why, but Melinda, it worked for you. That was you, Nick. Oh, yes. And is that what happened? Do you think it was because it was your phone, or did it work for you on your phone eventually? It's really weird, isn't it? I do not know why that is. But Mel, I can send it to you anyway. Like I can send it to you separately if you want, and see if it's easier to open up a different way. Never know, sometimes know why these technical, it's a bit irritating, isn't it? But it worked on the computer, not the phone. Isn't that weird? I need to find out from my IT person why that is. Mel, are you able to work with that? Is that possible for you? Because I'm happy, if you struggle with getting it done tonight, I'm happy to know that you have signed up as a result of this, and make a note of your name, and we can have a one-to-one session. Yeah, you can do it tomorrow. Yeah, I'll make a note that it's you and that you're joining, and you joined from here and you tried and you couldn't do it because for whatever reason. Absolutely fine. Should have gone to Specsavers. What is wrong with that? It's so weird, isn't it? I'm so sorry about that. And I will speak to the lady who does my website and try and understand why that is, because it's very strange. Oh, no problem at all. Goodness me. We're only a small group. So we're always just a small group of women, so we can do things a bit more flexibly than in a bigger machine. Yeah, so let me know if any of you need anything extra, any help. We like I say, it's just me and Lou running this ship, so we can pretty much do most things within reason. Beautiful. And again, I'll send another link out as well in the email that I'm going to send out after this, that we'll have the replay and also link to join. And so as long as I get, good night, lovely, good night. As long as I get, so for example, with Mel, I know, but for anyone else joining up tonight, you all get the one-to-one. If you've joined up from here, and otherwise you can join up later and just not have the one-to-one, but we'll do the work as a group. And group work is awesome because we learn from each other, and we learn so much about ourselves and about each other. And we open ourselves up. When we open ourselves up and we share ourselves vulnerably with others, it's amazing, the transformation just in that, just in knowing we're not alone. Good night. Sleep well, everyone. And thank you for coming. I feel like I should be like ushering you guys out. But I really appreciate it. No worries, Julia. No worries at all. Beautiful, beautiful having you. I'm so looking forward to doing the alcohol experiment. I love running this program. It's so much fun. I get so much from it. And I think the participants do as well. I think you can tell when someone really loves the course that they teach. It's for me, it was such a big transformation in my life and my relationship with everybody around me, and particularly myself. It was huge. Bye, everyone. Sleep well. Have lovely nights. I'm just going to have a look at who we've got on here still. Julia's here. Maureen's here. Sandy's here. Julie had her hand up. No, it's all right. Julie's gone. Nick's gone. Sandy and Maureen, do you have questions, ladies? I shouldn't say ladies, actually. I don't like that. Do you have questions? Do you need any help with anything at all? I'm here if you need me. If not, I will probably shut down because I need to load up the replay. All right, my treasures. If not, if you need anything at all, just reach out to me. My email address, emma@hoperisingcoaching.com. All right, take care, guys.